it's okay because no one's watching, so no one's going to care that I'm rubbing my hands in front of the mic. Yes, everywhere. So we've got over here our plat player, level 57, got that Hydralisk portrait. Then we got over here on the other side, we got our Zerg player, the unranked, the 47, the unsung hero of the swarm, Phobos. Where am I hearing noise from? My in-game chat must still be on. This kid's in-game chat must be on. I'll have to mute that in-game. Otherwise, we're going to hear some annoying sounds. But until that point, we're just going to watch them playing on the Xeris Prime TE. I have not seen this map, but it was played on the GSTL, which is the team league for StarCraft in Korea. So, big time. Up here in the 1 o'clock position, we have our... Actually, it's more like a 2 or 3 o'clock position. We have our purple Zerg Phobos. I can do the stinking thing the little casters do where they like scroll in. Oh, I can't zoom in. And then down here in our 7 o'clock position, we have the green Protoss Rhage. Now, I'm going to have to say, just at the beginning of this game, I think Phobos is probably at the advantage here. He's like platinum or diamond level with all of his races. But that being said, that doesn't count Rage out. Anyone can take a game off of anybody because StarCraft is a game of probabilities. So if you play the person enough, you will beat them eventually. He knows that his opponent is playing Zerg. His opponent isn't playing at random like he normally would. He's choosing his race. I have to say, this way into your natural is a little weird, because let's just take a look around this map. You've got a really big cleft in your main, which could be annoying if you had to deal with Reapers. I don't know if this is conjoined or not. It kind of looks like there's a rift there, but it looks like Reapers may be able to jump up here. Neither of the players are Terran, so we don't have to worry about that. Ooh, look at this. This is that level 20 or 25 different avatar for the pylon. So nice. Your natural here. Now, your natural has a very small, very easy to defend ramp, but across here we have rocks, so there is another way into the natural, so they'll need to make a pylon or put an overlord in case of the Zerg above the rocks to their natural to make sure that they don't get attacked. We've got two watchtowers, which I'm going to assume are going to give an ability, a sight, ring of sight like that. Our Zerg player was a little earlier on the scouting. I need to put the food menu up. If I look at the food menu up, and I'd also like production. Production is always a good menu to have because you want to know what your people are doing. But I was getting busy looking at the map. Your third is actually relatively easy to defend. You have a huge ramp to your third. Yes, of course. And there's waste, but there is no way to get in behind it other than a drop. There's no place to lay tanks or anything back there in any stupid, kind of cheesy way. The ramp is huge, but if you defend this ramp, then your third is completely fine. But there is kind of a long walk distance between this ramp and the rocks at the third. Or at the natural, I mean. I'm sorry. So the Zerg player started off with a double hatch. So we saw a 15 hatch, 18 hatch into a 18 spawning pool. What we're seeing from the other player is a forge fast expand, but he went gate. He went forge gate before taking his nexus, but he now has his nexus. This could be favorable. He wanted to build a pylon here, but he couldn't because he saw the overlord. He knew that he was going to get scouted if he did that, so he knew that was pointless to do. So if we go ahead and take a look at the picture, the Zerg's pulling ahead a little bit, but with chrono boost that can be mitigated. We have another gateway going up before a cybernetics core. I find that a little odd. I think a cybernetics core should have been the next natural course. As we can see, this probe is about to lose its life, and that pylon's not going to be efficient at anything. He built the pylon right underneath Overlord's vision, so I'm not sure what he was trying to accomplish here. Maybe cannons? Yeah, cannons. A couple of drones should be able to, and if he loses his probe, it's really over. All he has to do is stop this cannon, and he's already got Zerglings out, so the cannon's done, the pylon's done. That's actually put the Protoss player kind of behind, because not only has he delayed his tech since he is getting gateways without a cybernetics core. Really odd call to go 3 gate no cybernetics core to me. I assume he's going to make +1 attack on these zealots and do some sort of a zealot harass. +1 on zealots, by the way, makes them 2-shot zerglings, which is key important. Instead of taking 3 shots, they now kill zerglings in 2 shots. So a +1 zealot push used to be, it's kind of an older style, but it could still be effective if the opponent is going zergling heavy. But what we see here is that the Zerg is kind of droning. He's only got 4 workers on gas. He's getting Zergling speed. He's not really concerned. He's got map vision, and he now has Zerglings out front of his enemy's base. He's just going to be annoying here. He can't really push. He wants... Oh! The Zealots weren't on hold position, which allowed the Zerglings to get past before the cannon finished, so that's going to be a little bit of an annoyance for the Protoss player. But they don't have speed yet, so they can't get too far away. He needs to pull those... Now he's going to put them on hold position. So he is going to end up losing... Is he going to end up losing some things here? He's losing some mining time for sure. And he lost a pylon, which powered down 2 gateways. So that was a decent... And he's now killed a couple of probes here. Is he going to lose another probe? Is he going to lose this pylon since he's getting attacked for it? No, okay. So if we look at the units lost tab, we can see that the Protoss players lost 387 minerals. That's because he had a mess up with that pylon and that cannon, which weren't necessary. The pylon and cannon would have been efficient if he had got it before the hatcheries had morphed in, but he didn't get it before the hatcheries were morphed in. By the time he built the pylon, there was already creep, so there really was no use for cannons. As we can see, our Zerg player is actually doing a pretty good job on spreading creep. He skipped a spawn larva to spread creep with all of his queens, and he doesn't make extra queens to spawn larva, which is something I don't agree with. Which is something I don't agree with him. He clicked that crab. See what you can do in this game. Same thing as StarCraft 1. If you click on a unit repeatedly, like a crab, it will explode on one of the neutral units on the map, I should say. But as we can see, the Zerg player is getting further and further ahead. He's now got a 10 drone advantage, which the army value is lower because he's got 2 Zerglings to 2 Zealots. But as long as he sees this army when it moves out, then he can easily make any amount of Zealots that he needs, or not Zealots, but Zerglings he needs. So the Zerg player can easily hold off the Protoss player. The Protoss player, on the other hand, is just chrono boosting out, so both of them are going for rather turtle-ish builds, tech builds, I would say, rather than turtling. Both of them are going to get some tech out. We are seeing that +1 attack there come out, so we may see a Zealot-heavy push, although we're only seeing 2 Zealots and 2 Stalkers. What he needs to do is he needs to make sure he leaves the Zealot behind to prevent a counterattack, although Sebastian isn't going to counterattack, so he will be fine without it in this circumstance. Now, our Zerg player, as we can see here, sees these units walking directly across the map. What is his response? His response is, if we go to the production menu, to wharf in 16 Zerglings at once. Well, 16 Zerglings is going to hold 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots, and 2 Sentries. Now he's got 28 Zerglings on the way, so he has a very good amount of units, and as we can see, he already has a very good creep spread going on. His creep spread is out to the 3rd and 4th bases on his side. Now will he have to sack this overload? He's not going to have to sack this overload. He's not using force field. Force field wouldn't have been that helpful there. This ramp is just too large for force fields to be efficient. So that another cost inefficient trade for the Protoss. We see the Protoss is falling further and further behind. Not only is he behind now by nearly 26 workers actually, but he's behind it and units lost. He's given away. He gave away a pylon and a cannon in the beginning. Although he did cancel the cannon, he still lost 40-some minerals off of it. He still lost a fourth of those 150 minerals. And then he lost the pylon for another 100. Then when he let the Zerglings into his base, he lost another probe or 2 and a pylon. So that's another 200, 150 minerals down the drain. And then he just sent out his army, his only army that he had at the time, and let them get destroyed by Zerglings. So now the Protoss player is falling further behind. I think the Protoss player in this case would have done better to sit back and maybe go Oracles or get some type of harass unit so that he could kill some drones. As we can see, looks like the Zerg player is going to be going like pure drones or pure Zerglings because we have 2 extra hatcheries with queens in the main. When you make an extra hatchery, you usually only need 1 comparative to your bases. As long as your macro is good, and if you have an extra queen spawn larva, that's good, but it's not necessary. You only need 3 or 4 queens, and you should have plenty of larva, unless you're going pure Zergling style. As we can see, the Zerg player isn't doing that great on mineral management. He's floating 2,000 minerals, which is terrible. The Protoss player is doing a lot better with only 300 minerals floating. As we see, the unit, he's catching up. It's now 80 to 53. A lot of these, along the income tab, we can see the Zerg player is still well ahead, although a lot of these were long distance mining, as we can see up until this hatchery finished just a moment ago. But the Zerg player is really free to do whatever he wants, and the Protoss player does not have any way of harassing or slowing down the Zerg's player economy at this point. Because he threw away so many units early in the game, he is now getting further and further behind. And the longer he waits, the longer he sits, the more it allows the Zerg to catch up, well, not to catch up, but to continually get further and further ahead of him. So he now has this observer out. He will be able to see what the Zerg player is up to. He'll see that, well, he sees the Zerg's force. Let's find if he sees the Zerg's force. But like I say, the further and further the game goes on without the Protoss doing any type of harass, the further he's getting behind. His fate is in my hand, and now I have decided the blow. Loltrilisks. Now, the Zerg player is doing terrible on his money spending. I want to see how he's doing on his upgrades. I wish I could see upgrades. Is there a way to do upgrades? There is no way to do upgrades. If we look at APM, we can see the Zerg player is well ahead on average. I really would like to see... here we go, upgrades. So we can see that the Zerg player has 1-1. So the Zerg player is actually equal currently with the... But his 2-2 is about to finish. As we look, the Protoss player only has one Forge, which isn't doing anything right now. So that Forge needs to be getting another upgrade, needs to be getting chronoed, and he needs to have that Twilight Council so that he can get level 2 upgrades. As he falls behind in upgrades, he's getting even further and further behind, say, than he has been. So now he took his third because he did... Has he scouted the fourth? He may have indirectly scouted the fourth if he saw some drones moving along, but he has not seen the fourth. The Zerg player just sacrifices Zergling. He now knows what the army composition looks like. He sees Immortals, Stalkers, Sentries, Colossi. He now sees these cannons, these static defenses going up. He could respond with Mutalisk very easily, cause a lot of damage, because Mutalisk are going to be able to bounce around from this to this much faster than the Protoss army is going to be able to. He does have a Twilight Council out. He does have a second Forge, so that's good. Although he needs to be... Okay, he is getting upgrades with this Forge. So now if we look at the production tab, we see level 3 upgrades. Adrenal glands, almost finished, mind you, and level 3 upgrades beginning. And we see lots of Ultralisks coming out. We see the Zerg player now just maxed out at about 16 or 17 minutes into the game. So the Zerg player, if we look at the money he's banking, he doesn't have a lot of gas. He needs to take more bases. As you see, he's taking a 6 base for gas, essentially. And he is then going to push the ground army. The ground army here is going to need force fields to work efficiently, but Ultralisk can walk over force fields. And as we can see, the creep spread's doing quite well from the Zerg point of view. The Protoss player is trying to get control of his third, but at this point, I think it's just a little bit too little, too late for the Protoss player. He wasn't able to do any type of harassment, or rather, he chose not to. The 2 attempts at harassment he had, the cannon early on, he does not want to move out here. I mean, he needs to have an engagement where he has the better ground, and this middle ground, this wide open area, is not going to be good for him versus a very quick army, especially on the creep. He needs to stay off the creep. He does not want to engage on the creep. He should just poke off some creep tumors and run away. I believe that our Zerg player, our Zerg player is going to do Baneling bombs on top of his army. As well with that, he is... Where is his Ultralisk Den? He already has chitinous plating. So if we look at our upgrades here, we see 4 defense, because that chitinous plating adds 2 armor. And we're going to see them come for a direct engagement. He's not even going to have time to Baneling bomb because he was too silly. He forgot to get the Overlord speed. The entire army of the Protoss player is going to get eaten alive. He should not have engaged on creep. That gives the Ultralisk too much speed, as well as the Zerglings and drones. Really, the Zerg player could, at any moment in time, just attack the Protoss player and end the game. But he's going to sit back. He's remaxed. He's already remaxed. He instantaneously remaxed on Hydras, mind you, and he's now going ahead and getting those missile level 3 upgrades. If we look at the upgrades, I believe, yes, the level 3 upgrades will be finishing shortly, so we're going to have 5 3 upgrades on these Ultralists, 3 3 on these Zerglings with Adrenal Glands, and if we look over here at these poor Zealots, they're 2 2 with no shield upgrades. So the Zealots are already behind, and Colossi don't do that well against Ultralists. Ultralists have bonus versus, well, they used to have bonus versus armor. Let me see now. They know, never mind, I lied. Okay, I'm wrong. Ultralists now have a flat damage on ground, unlike Wings of Liberty, where they did have that bonus to armor. So, Ultralists are just good versus everything on the ground. Let's see, we have Immortals, because Immortals are going to, they do have a bonus versus Armored. Versus Armored, 60 damage to these Ultralists. But these Ultralists have so much armor. They have 6 armor. So they probably won't be getting hit for 60 damage. Now, if we take a look at our units tab, we see 82 probes. So the Protoss player has too many probes for the amount of bases he's on. Way oversat. Well, only 4 oversaturated here, but he's oversaturated here. 36 out of 24. Way oversaturated, completely mined out in his main base. Not good. Now, this is a Baneling drop. It would work, but it's not going to because, oh my god, it's going to. Wow, I didn't expect that to work. I thought that cannon was going to be able to shoot that Overlord down, but apparently I was wrong. Now, if we look to units lost tab, 9,500 compared to 3,500. He just killed. This was just at 36 out of 24. Now it's at 8 if we count this guy going back here. 8! 36 to 8. That's a lot of kills. 28. Took me a while to do the math in my head, hence why I made up the little, that's a lot of kills, haha, that's because I didn't want to do the math out loud. I really need to disable these toasts, don't I? As we look at this, we've got 10 workers over here, we've got 3 and 3, we do have him now taking the gas. He should have taken the gas a while ago, even though he's floating quite a bit of extra gas. Hydralisks, which aren't good against Colossi, but are good against Immortals, which, as we see, our Protoss player is now building only those. Our Protoss player should have taken a 4th base knowing, let me see, does he know? He still hasn't seen the Zerg's 4th or 5th base, so he needed to be a little bit, well, not a little bit, he needed to be more active on scouting the tech. He didn't even take this. If we look, there are no Spore Crawlers and no Overseers out for our Zerg player. So he needed to be active on using this Observer. He could have scouted the tech. He could have got in the main and seen exactly what the Protoss player was doing. Although he did have quite a lot of buildings, all of them are ground units. He could have known that our Zerg player was only going to go ground units. He's now sending these to dance, so we are going to watch this. This should be excellent. He has no units in those. He's just going to send those Overlords to dance on our enemy's base. He sent a Corruptor to its death. We now see the Zerg, or not the Zerg, the Protoss player's moving out, but he's not going to be able to, even with Archons, which are very good, he will not be able to beat these units. If we look at the upgrades, we now see that he has 3-3, which is good, but if you're going to use Archons, you need to get those shield upgrades. Shield upgrades are very important when a unit has 350, 400 shields. Shields become much more important in that case. He's now spreading creep in his opponent's base. Well, let's not miss the engagement. As we see, the Baneling bombs are being dropped over top of everything the Ultras. If we look at the player's lost tab, that unit's lost tab, that didn't go quite as bad as some of the other engagements had gone for the Protoss player, but that engagement was not good. Baneling bombs on top of your army while being attacked by Ultralisk with Hydralisk at range, it's a lot of DPS to deal with. The Ultralisk will tank, while the glass cannons, the Hydralisk, do a boatload of DPS. So as you can see, our Protoss player he did better on average unspent resources, time supply, clap workers created. He actually had way too many workers for the amount of bases he was on. The Zerg player really should have done a better job, and I mean, I make this mistake all the time too, but he should have made a shitload of more spine crawlers. He should have just massed spine crawlers around all his bases, in case that that the Protoss player did some type of warp prism harassment, and that could have been effective if he used his observer, scouted the enemy base, and then noted that, hey, there's no spore crawlers here. He could have got a warp prism in there. Now he's got to make make sure that, it's got to be quick because those Zerglings are real fast at responding, and he had creep all over his base and overlords. But, I mean, he could have done some type of harassment. Oracles, Phoenixes, he could have done something to shut down, just anything to slow down that Zerg player. Instead, he was behind the entire game because he lost a lot of units at the beginning, and then he forced himself to get further and further behind because he tried to macro behind it knowing that the Zerg player went double hatch before pool, and not punishing him for that. He didn't do a six gate or something to punish him for being so greedy in the early game. His attempt to punish it was punished, and he lost even more. So now I'm starting up another game, and then we'll go into game 2. Switch this to a 1 versus 1. Make myself a referee. And add his friend if he's still in the mood to watch another game. We're going into game 2. Our random player, who's now playing Protoss, we're going to see a PvP in this game on Metropolis LE, which is actually one of my favorite maps, one of the larger maps that Blizzard has ever made. It's no longer in the ladder pool, makes me quite sad. I love this map a lot. As you can see, the Zerg player completely dominated the last game because any attempt by the Protoss player to harass was completely shut down and handed easily, and then he went double hatch before pool without any type of punishment at all. I think the Protoss would have done better to get some oracles out or something quicker, but instead he ended up not getting out any units, and his attempts at harassment failed, putting him further behind, and he didn't attempt to harass knowing he was behind economically the entire game. So what we're going to see here is up in the 12 o'clock position we have our teal Protoss player, Rhage, and down here in the 6 o'clock position we have our AFK and late to the party, blue Protoss player Sebastian or Phobos. I really don't know what we're going to see in this game. PvP isn't exactly my strong suit, but we're going to go ahead and do whatever kind of job we can to cast it. Let me get some water because I literally don't think I can talk anymore. Alright, we see 9 pylon from both players. Apparently Phobos wasn't AFK because their food counts are even, and Phobos' pylon is already finished while Rhage is supply blocked here. Rhage's pylon just finishes. He's going to go ahead and build a 10 gateway. That's not what we want to do. We really want to memorize, and I know it's little things in this game, but you really want to memorize, you know, hey, I need to send my probe when I have like 50 minerals, because I'll have 50 minerals gathered by the time I move from this mineral patch down here to make this pylon. So I have to send him before I get the 100 minerals. That way, right when I get 100 minerals, I make a pylon. And you know what makes that easier? Is if you build the pylon next to your base. In a PvP, I'm not thinking you're going to have to block the ramp a lot. Really, the only time a Protoss player needs to block the ramp is versus Zerg, because you're scared of those Zergling run-bys. What's a Protoss player going to run by you with? If anything, he's going to be using Blink Stalkers to blink up into your base, in which he'll already have sight due to the Mama Ship Core or an Observer. So you're really not going to see any run-bys from a Protoss player. There are no fast units. I could see it against a Terran player, but remember, all of Terran's units are ranged units, which means that if you do build a wall here, the Terran player can siege his tanks up and put his army here and kill them from range. Whereas if your infrastructure is in here, he can't attack it with a siege tank. Well, he can't attack it with bio. He could attack it with a siege tank if he had it here, but you can hit him from the high ground before he scans. So I think in any circumstance that's not versus Zerg, it's better to build your infrastructure in your base, which he did do with his second building. So we're now seeing him go Gate Cybernetics Core, which is a more traditional build rather than 3 gateways before a Cybernetics Core like we saw last game, which was a little odd. We saw Forge Fast Expand, and then if you're going to Forge Fast Expand, why would you grab a gateway before you take your Nexus? You should just build that Forge, build a cannon, and then build your Nexus instead of building Gateway before. That was a little odd. It put the Protoss player a little bit behind, and it was those little things in the beginning of the game that escalated over the course of the entire game. It made the Protoss player fall further and further behind. Now what I want to see here is if he scouted this. So now he has scouted the Stargate, so he does know that probably an Oracle is coming up. He scouted this one base Stargate play, but Warp Gate's coming out, so he'll have a ground army as well. But now the Protoss player over here knows, hey, look, I need to get a Stalker out. I think he's trying to build one, but he doesn't have enough money right now. Nope, he had this gateway selected, but he didn't build enough. I don't know that I like your control group setup, but it was me. What does Sebastian use? Sebastian uses a similar setup, so whatever suits you. So now we see an Oracle being chrono boosted out, and we see a Phoenix being chrono boosted out. So that, my friends, is called reading your opponent. Getting a Phoenix out before an Oracle comes. Wow. I almost thought we were going to see 2 Oracles like wipe out both their mineral lines. No, we're not going to see that. We're going to see Rhage send an Oracle over, and then it's going to get sniped by the Phoenix because it can't run away. That Phoenix is a hell of a lot faster than him. And then we're going to see continuing use of Phoenix, so we're going to see an air toss type of build. But this is definitely going to shut down this Oracle. This Oracle is going to die, unfortunately, for our Teal player. If we look at our units tab, we see the Teal player is falling slightly behind on drones. Not a lot, but, look, he could be building a drone right now, but he's not. He's not building any more workers. He could be building a worker right now, and he's not. So there are little things, there are little differences that you could see that just little things that can help you improve at this game. We're going to see Warp Gate is going to be finishing with both players here. Actually, Warp Gate's already been finished for the blue player, and then we're going to see the blue player drop down 2 more gateways. The Oracle, I believe, was already killed. No, the Oracle was not killed yet. He's getting a second Oracle out. So these Oracles could do some damage while the Phoenix is gone. He needs to move the Oracles in now. We've already got the static defense. He sees that his opponent has this, so is he going to return to his base? Rage was too. He needs to get these phoenixes out of his base, but the phoenixes aren't going to be able to do that much damage. He's already got cannons, and there's only so much energy that 3 brand new phoenixes are going to have. He needed to attack with his oracles while the phoenixes were in his base, because the stalker's there. Don't target fire. He needs to be. What he should be doing is he should be clicking. He should be holding shift and right clicking these probes so that these oracles only attacked probes. Is what he should have done. He should have completely ignored the stalker because he was definitely going to lose those oracles when those phoenixes return. So what he should have done is he should have held shift and then queued up as many workers as he could to kill the workers, and then just return to his base, get ready for the next stage. We